There are places in this world where the land itself feels wrong, places that carry ancient weight, where the time seems to stretch and the air is thick with something unseen. One of those places is La Rumorosa, a treacherous, winding highway that goes through mountains of Baja California. Known for its sharp curves, steep cliffs, and violent winds, it is a road feared by truckers and travelers alike, not just for its dangers, but also for what lingers after dark. There are stories whispered among those who have no choice but to drive it, stories of figures standing by the roadside, of ghostly voices carried by the wind, and something far more worse, something that follows you. This is one of those stories. It was past midnight when Arturo, a seasoned truck driver, found himself on La Rumorosa. He had driven this road before, but never at this hour. The highway was empty, the darkness around him vast and unbroken, except for the pale glow of his headlights. As he climbed the winding path through the mountains, the wind howled against his truck, rattling the doors. The locals said that this was La Rumorosa got its name from the eerie, almost human-like sounds the wind that was made and passed through the jagged rocks. But that night, the wind carried something else. At first, it was just a whisper, faint, barely audible beneath the hum of the engine. Arturo dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on his mind, but as he continued, the whispers grew louder. They weren't random, they were voices. He turned off the radio trying to drown them out, but the sounds seemed to bleed through, a chorus of distant murmurs surrounding him from all sides. He checked his mirrors, expecting to see nothing but empty road. But he wasn't alone anymore. A shadow flickered on the edge of his vision, a figure barely illuminated by the glow of his taillights, standing motionless at the side of the road. A woman. She wore a flowing white dress, her long black hair cascading over her face. She didn't move. She didn't signal for help. She just stood there, watching as he drove past. A cold dread crept up his spine. He had hair of La Mujer de Blanco, the ghost that wandered La Rumorosa. Some said that she was the spirit of a woman who died in a car accident. Others believed he had been drowned. Others believed she had been thrown from the cliffs, doomed to wander the highways forever. But Arturo didn't believe in ghosts. At least, not yet. He kept his eyes on the road, refocusing to look back. No. He kept his eyes on the road, refusing to look back. But then, a shape appeared ahead. His breath caught in his throat. It was her again, standing in the middle of the highway. There was no time to react. He slammed on the brakes. There was no time to react. Slammed on the brakes, tires screeching against the pavement as his massive truck launched forward. The figure remained still, unfazed by the oncoming vehicle, and then she vanished. Not into the light, not on the road, just gone. The truck skipped to stop. The only sound now hammered out of Arturo's heart. His hands were trembling as he exhaled, gripping the wheel like a lifeline. This was exhaustion. This was exhaustion, a trick of the mind. That's what he told himself. But something wasn't right. The wind had stopped. The world around him was silent. And then the knocking began. Soft at first, tapping against the passenger door, then harder, more insistent. Knock, knock, knock. Something wanted in. Arturo clenched his jaw, refusing to look. He reached for the ignition, his fingers shaking, but before he could start the engine, a whisper, right next to his ear, a voice, not carried by the wind. It spoke his name. Arturo turned, and in the reflection of the window she was there. Her face, inches away from his. Her skin was gray, lifeless. Her eyes black pits of nothingness. Her mouth twisted into something that was almost a smile. Then she was gone. The truck engine roared to life as Arturo floored to the gas, tearing down the road as fast as the mountain curves would allow. The wind screamed around him again, as if trying to push him off the edge, but he didn't stop. He didn't look back. He didn't dare look back. By the time he reached the bottom of the pass, dawn was breaking over the desert. The horror of the night still clung to him, but he was alive. He had made it through. He never drove La Rumorosa at night again. And if you ever find yourself on that cursed road, alone past midnight, if you hear whispers on the wind, if you see a woman in white standing on the roadside, whatever you do not stop. There are roads in Mexico that are best avoided after dark. Highways where accidents happen far too often, where the wreckage of all crashes seem to disappear overnight, leaving no trace of their lives lost. Kilometro 31 is one of those roads, a coarse stretch of highway deep in the forest between Mexico City and Toluca. It has claimed more lives than anyone can count, but none of them are accidents. Not all of them are real. Some who drive this road never make it to their destination. Some are found days later, wandering aimlessly in the woods, unable to explain what happened, and some are never found at all. And this is the story of Kilometro 31. It was a cold December night when Gabriel and his brother Rodrigo set out on the highway. They had been driving for hours, their cows slicing through the dense fog that rolled off the mountains. The road was empty, silent, too silent. No headlights in the distance, no taillights ahead, just an endless stretch of asphalt winding through the trees. Gabriel checked his phone. No signal, no GPS. Rodrigo, half asleep in the passenger seat, mumbled something about the bad weather. Then, the car hit something. A sudden jolt, the sickening sound of metal scraping against flesh and bone. Gabriel slammed the brakes, her hammering as the car skipped to a stop. Silence. Rodrigo sat up, eyes wide. What was that? Gabriel swallowed hard. He didn't want to look, but he had to. The headlights cast a dim, flickering glow on the wet pavement ahead. Nothing. No body, no blood, just the road. But something felt wrong. The air had changed. Thick, oppressive, like standing in a room with no windows. A shadow moved at the end of the light. Gabriel's breath caught on his throat. There, standing on the road, a man, barefoot, wearing ragged clothes, his body twisted unnaturally. His head lolled to one side, as if his neck had been snapped. He shouldn't be alive. He wasn't alive. The man took a step forward, then another. Gabriel shifted into reverse, ready to get out of there, but the road behind him was gone. Only darkness stretched beyond the taillights. The highway had vanished, swallowed by an abyss of black. A cold hand gripped his shoulders, not Rodrigo's. Gabriel turned. No one was there. The man outside had stopped moving, but something else was coming. Shadow flickers between the trees, dozens of them moving closer, surrounding the car. Rodrigo's breath came short, ragged gasps. He clutched his head, shaking badly. "They don't want us here," he whispered. Gabriel slammed the gas. The tires screeched against the pavement. the car launching forward, straight through the figure of the road. It passed through the windshield like smoke, vanishing as the car sped away. The trees blurred on each side. The fog thickened, wrapping around them like ghostly fingers. Then, just as suddenly, the road reappeared, streetlight signs in civilization. They had escaped, or so they thought. When they arrived at their destination, they didn't speak about what had happened. They told themselves they were just tired, or that their mind was playing tricks on them. But later that night, as Gabriel lay awake in bed, his phone buzzed. A message. No sender, no number. Just two words. Kilometro 31. Alright, what's up everybody? Today I wanted to make a little true story video to tell you about two different accounts in two different highways of the Mexico. Kilometro 31, you might know it because it was made into a movie a couple years back. So yeah, I want to tell you all about this like little stories about like Mexican highways and all the folklore, but I hope you enjoyed it. And next week we'll have something different as well. But yeah, I hope you like it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. Let me know if you liked it. If you did not like it, what else can we do in the future? But yeah, I think that was it all for today. Thank you for watching and bye bye.